For decades, Muslim Canadians have been a reliable voting bloc for the Liberal Party, but this year that loyalty could be facing its most profound test yet. Anger over the war in Gaza has the potential to affect dozens of battleground ridings. Farah Nasser joins us now with more on this. And so, Farah, how is this war in Gaza galvanized the community in this election, and what difference could this make?
Well, first, I should point out that Muslims are not a monolith, right? Like any other community, Dwight. So people are going to vote how they vote. But the issue of Gaza and what's happening in the Middle East has galvanized Muslims even before this election or this campaign started. And there are a lot of people who feel in the Muslim community that this is either their number one or number two issue. So I spoke to a lot of Muslim Canadians, and Muslim Canadians, I should say, are more engaged than the average Canadian voter in terms of voter turnout. So in these key swing ridings, we could see a shift. There are people who originally voted for the Liberals and historically voted for the Liberals, but might go to the NDP because of their stance on Gaza.
You interviewed Mohammed Faki, well known in the GTA, a longtime Liberal supporter, now voting NDP for the first time. So what was his reasoning? Yes,
this was really surprising, Dwight, because if you've covered Mohammed Faki, the head of Paramount Fine Foods, which is this the largest chain of Middle Eastern halal restaurants in Canada, he has been such a big supporter of the Liberal Party. There are pictures with him with Justin Trudeau at his restaurants. And he's saying he's disappointed and actually hurt by how the Liberals have handled the crisis in Gaza. And his own MP, Anita Anand in Oakville, was not one to sign a Palestinian pledge like about 20 other Muslim MPs or people running to be MP. And so he was very disappointed in his candidate. And because of that, he's voting for the NDP. Have a listen to his reasoning.
Our children are watching how we're being treated here in Canada just for saying ceasefire. It doesn't matter who the leader of the Liberal. I'm telling you, I lived all my political life as a Liberal. I bleed the Liberal. You know, we are hurt by the Liberal Party.
He's encouraging others in the Muslim community to vote principle over party loyalty, Dwight.
Beyond Gaza, you mentioned concerns about affordability and rising Islamophobia. How are voters weighing those different issues when making their electoral choices now?
Yeah, Islamophobia was also something that we heard time and time again in terms of decision making. And you know what's really interesting, Dwight, is the Muslim community, or some in the Muslim community, feel like the Liberals have not done enough when it comes to Islamophobia. But we also have people in the Jewish community who feel like the Liberals have not done enough when it comes to anti-Semitism. So we've seen also a shift there of Jewish votes going to the Conservatives and potential Muslim votes going to the NDP. So that is one thing to pay attention to this election. The other thing you mentioned is affordability. And I asked a lot of people that because I think that's top of mind for most people in Canada. And while some said, yes, that's my number one issue, the Gaza situation is too, there were some who saw them as connected. Listen to first-time voter Aisha Abdul Razak.
I think foreign policy dictates the way that we run our lives here as well, right? Because the way that they view anyone back home is the same way that they're going to view me. Because just because I live here doesn't make me any different to them. So I don't see it as, oh, that's back home and that's here, or that's abroad and that's the Middle East. Those are the problems of the Middle East. I think it goes hand in hand, to be honest.
There's been a 67% rise in Islamophobia, Dwight, since 2023. We've seen a huge rise in anti-Semitism as well. So these are issues that voters are paying attention to.
Farah, thank you for this.
Thanks for having me.